Evening, everybody. This is the Hawk again. The final day of the Royals' visit to South Africa. The Royals came for tea, scones and cream. In 10 days of their visit, 4,800 rapes in South Africa on an average in the 10 days. In the 10 days they were there, 5,800 murders on an average. Let me give you some examples. Gerard Pretorius, Vryheid, KwaZulu-Natal, shot dead, and his bakkie hijacked after he was lured, pretending to be a customer. Galop van Steen from Maytown, Gauteng, shot killed by hijackers, pretending to be a businessman, asking for customers. Sean Skull, farmer, shot on his farm in the Eastern Cape. Mani Foster, 72, elderly lady, farming alone in Bethlehem, Free State, body found in a dumped in the local graveyard. In the Western Cape, surname unknown, body found in the park with knife wounds. Wynan Labuskaghni, 27, shot dead by a house robber in his flat in Kempton Park. John Barnard, 83, South Cape, found murdered in his home, was retired. He was a minister, church minister. Peter Henson, 80, found murdered in his home, Western Cape. Corin Turner, 31, stabbed together with her husband while they were sleeping in a guest house in a game reserve on the Eastern Cape. I reported that the other day. She was 3 months pregnant. She had a son there as well, 23-month-old son. Her husband's barely survived the stab. Florence Jeffries Dilworth, 55, from Durban, stabbed brutally, unknowingly got into a taxi. In fact, the taxi was hijacked. She wanted to go to church. The body was found by the side of the road. Barbara Joubert, found naked, severely beaten near Dersport Tunnel in Pretoria. She died in hospital. Rhino Edgar, Witbank, stabbed to death with a knife. Christian Pierce, Kirkstop, run over by a taxi. His body was found 3 months later. Gary Croston, 56, found murdered in his home. He had good security, high walls, security cameras. Jeanette van Wyk, 83, died of a heart attack from severe fright as they came into a frail care, the local old age home. Doris Island, 77, found bound and strangled in her home on the bluff. Frick Roost, 66, shot dead during a house robbery in Pangeni, KwaZulu-Natal. Rita Groenewald, 69, naked body found in a granny flat. She was also strangled. Unknown farmer in Kromstra, Pretoria, shot while fixing his fence. And today, JP stabbed with a garden fork in the eye by a fellow farm worker on a Wellington farm. He was taken to the Tygerberg hospital. He waited for several hours without being assisted at the hospital. He died. He died sitting there waiting for somebody to help him. And the only reason they didn't help him is because he's white. Today, Prince Harry announced that the British government will give a further £8 million for skills and prosperity programs with the South African corrupt government and partners. We feel that the skills of young children need to be helped because they are suffering without any skills. They're coming into the workplace with no skills. And yet thousands and thousands of white kids are begging for jobs, can't get skills because they're not allowed because of the color of their skin. Other schools are being burnt down because the teacher gave them a poor mark. The government's reduced the pass mark to 25%. 25%, that's just neatness. That's your name, and you wrote it in neat, and you didn't learn shit. Nothing in life is for free. And why would you give the South African government another £8 million? £8 million, 16.5 million rand. When I have showed you almost 16 trillion, 6 trillion lost to these people already because they cannot control money. It is too much temptation to take. You gave them a 50 million pounds to take the land away from the whites. And you talk about the prosperity of Africa and how we love Africa and how I would like to bring my son here and teach him the values of friendship and brotherhood. Really? When his wife is playing the race card the entire time. I'm a mother, I'm your sister, I'm the lady of color. But in Hollywood, she was Caucasian. In the entire 10 days, they never mentioned the murders and rapes and the discriminative laws against white people. 164 laws on the books that deliberately state no whites allowed. Far worse than any apartheid government ever was. They do not condemn Malema, Julius Malema. He stood up in 2016 in Oxford University and explained about leaders and how the leaders are the problem. All the presidents of all countries are the problem. And how corruption is around these presidents who never leave. And during the xenophobia attacks, of which the royals never stated one thing, never said a word, not one word, that black people were murdering other black people from other countries that the prince had been visiting. Not one word. Suddenly the xenophobia stopped And tomorrow morning, here will come Ace Mashula, here will come Julius Malema, and here will come Andile Masatama, and all the other racists will jump up with glee. They're gone, we can carry on now. And the stupid Mlungu just gave us 58 million pounds to waste to discriminate against minorities in South Africa. And I can see that Prince Harry is so stuck that he can't say anything. You see, he's controlled too, because he's a coward. They're all controlled. He talks about following in the steps of his mother. The problem is, son, to follow in the steps of your mother, you have to have a unique idea, as she had a unique idea. She took the steps, you just followed them like a sheep, because you don't have an original idea. You're too scared to have original idea. You're a coward. You're just a pawn in the game. You could have blown up the world by telling the truth. All you did was gave a token 8 million pounds to a corrupt government to appease the anger and the sheep. You came to tea to show off your baby, to show up your Hollywood wife who's not interested in the people, she's only interested in the camera. I predict your future will not be happy, because you cannot live up to the show for too long. You cannot be your mother's son this way. Extremely disappointed that a prince stood there for 10 days. He left his wife in the most dangerous country in the world, according to the UN, went to other countries. He even brought a Land Rover down there because he didn't trust the vehicles that were there. It cost thousands of pounds to get there. It wasted 10 days. 10 days of the world's time. 10 days of everybody's time. Because he did nothing. He gave his tokenism out to the peasants. 8 million pounds. Not his money. British government's money. To a corrupt government who will not spend that money wisely. That money will be squandered. Maybe 50 students will see the end of that money. And even then it won't matter. It's just tokenism. And the 50 million pounds you sent to steal the land from the whites, farmers who are producing food, will only go into the hands of the ANC elite and their brothers and sisters, and not the people. It will not go to the people that are still living in the townships, who still live in squalor, who still battle to pay their bills, who can't pay their electricity bill, have to rob, rape, steal, murder, because they're desperate now. And he even stated 50% of unemployment, 50%. Because you're in bed, the ANC government's in bed with all kinds of crooked people. They sold the mineral rights of the country to the rich and famous long before they even came to power. It was sold. They sold the soul of Africa, Southern Africa, to the corrupt, the Oppenheimers, the De Beers. the Ruperts, the Rothschilds, all the banking, central banks, they loan you money you can never pay back. The mineral rights, when you take gold out of the ground for $100 and make 1,000% profit at the sweat and blood of the people. Government leaders that are billionaires. You have hospitals that do not have medical equipment, medical supplies, because the money's gone. Instead of buying decent beds, putting the beds together, or buying upgraded equipment, or putting the medicine on the cabinets, it's stolen, it's all gone. The gold reserves are gone. But now they're going to the farms that are producing food, because that's what's left. And soon they will eat rats like they do in Zimbabwe. And then you have people like Malema running around praising the evilest man in Africa, Robert Mugabe. And now his children will spend the $2.5 billion, not rands, not Rhodesian or Zimbabwean dollar, but dollars, $2.5 billion. They'll go squander that money on themselves, not the people. And the Zimbabwean government today declared that they're bankrupt, they have no money. What they need to do is go to Robert Mugabe's family and remove everything they have and give it to the people. And invite the farmers back and start farming again and give people jobs. Communist, socialist nonsense doesn't work. It never has. You make a man happy when you pay him a decent salary that he doesn't have to look at your house to steal it. You don't need BEE laws. You just need to pay people. I can go on forever and ever about the history of South Africa, who owns what and where and why. And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. Because like water under a bridge, you cannot bring the water back. Same with history. You cannot fix history. It's gone. It's called history for a reason. But the future of this country depends on the people that are on the ground. And your biggest problem is nothing but racism. See, a politician who uses racism has nothing to offer the people. Any politician that uses racism, he is weak. He has nothing to offer his people but an excuse to divert from the fact that they cannot lead. I'm tired of excuses. I'm sure you all are. Where are the solutions? Where are the plans? Where's the logical plan? Why have you not seized all these corruptors' money and put it back in the government? Why have you not arrested these people? Why have you not let people be accountable for the damages they have done? Because that to me is treason. Corruption is a human rights violation, according to Professor Lubumba. President Kennedy said, "It is not what I can do for you, it's what you can do for your country." And the saying goes here, why point fingers? I want, I want, I want. And yet none of you will take that small step to do something for your country. To all the police in South Africa, why are you not doing your jobs? We understand you don't get paid enough, but why become a policeman then? To the politicians, You were voted in to do a job, and that is serve the people, not serve your pocket. Hence, if you are making more money or have more money than you were ever paid, you're a criminal, and you should not be there. To all the church leaders who pray to God, oh Lord, help us. Oh Lord, help us. And won't do nothing but stick your hand out for that collection box on Sunday, you have my disrespect. Paul sat amongst the lions, and they walked away. When the xenophobia was going on, where were you? None of you came out. None of you stood in line. None of you faced them. Politicians included, all shut up, all scared that they would get hit. You send the military into the Cape Flats to stop gangsterism. And yet 50 people were murdered that weekend because nobody was doing anything. It was just tokenism. And the royals came to tea. And all it is happy, happy. And let's make the facade. And it becomes an illusion. And then you get given £8 million. And everybody's happy and says, wow, okay, cool. I'm going to get some of that. No, you're not. You're going to barely be lucky to get anything, not even a promise. Because who are the other partners? The same criminals that stole before? How are you going to have schools that get burnt down? How are you going to have law and order when the police are getting robbed at night in the police stations? How are you going to have anything when the corruptors are the government, are the criminals? How can you have moral fiber in a country where there's more corruption than there is law? And this excuse that Africa has always been corrupt is nonsense. Throughout the whole of Africa, it is a pit hole. It's a complete pit hole. Why? Because the leaders are the fault of it all. I laughed yesterday. I watched the video in Malama sit there in Oxford University explaining his vision. And a lot of it was logical, clearly logical. And what he spoke was the truth. And since then, he just became another leader, another pig, another idiot, chasing that dream because it didn't work. So what did he do? He became a racist because he has nothing to offer, because he sold his soul in England to the British. They bought him. They bought him for the mineral rights. They bought him to get him in power. And they bought him to become a racist. And in the video I show how much money he spent. He stole money from the VBC bank or VBS bank. These were grandmother's money, black ladies who were crying at the bank because their money had been stolen. And he spent over R1 million on alcohol, Gucci shoes, nice clothes. The same guy who preached that everybody needs a plan. Everybody needs to share in the wealth. Because he's now the British stool, another game in Africa, another broken leader, another waste of time, another Robert Mugabe. And to all the black people in South Africa who are getting sucked into this racist nonsense, the white people and the minorities of South Africa are your brothers and sisters because they are not the problem. The problem is the people that have corrupted the politicians, the people that have bought all your mineral rights, The people that are selling your country to the Chinese. And while you squabble over the scraps, they're stealing you blind and raping you while you kill each other. And those that scared of criminals because you're scared to say anything need to stand up and remove these parasites from your country. Beware what you ask for, because soon you will be eating rats. And to the son of soil, they'll be eating you, because when there's nothing left, they're coming to your house. And to Prince Harry, I'm extremely, extremely disappointed in you. I have nothing to say to your wife, because she does not matter. She's irrelevant. She's irrelevant in the world because all she is a facade. She's just a picture that everybody wants to take a picture. She's just a pretty face in an empty cup, looking for attention, showing no substance. Your mother didn't. Every time she got attention, she was embarrassed. You need to get the original idea of your own and be your mother's son. You wasted 10 days, 10 days of your life where you could have changed the world and you didn't. You condemned South Africa to starve because you didn't say anything. You allowed the British government to give them £50 million to steal the land from farmers. They will turn to thorns in a year, and it takes 25 years to get rid of the thorns. So for 25 years, food will not grow. It's that quick. It's like a new school. It takes a year to build, and it takes 5 minutes to burn down. So when they build a new one, it takes 2 years because they have to remove the old one and build another one. The same goes for farming. As soon as you leave a land, within a year, the thorns are back. And it's a fact, it takes 25 years to get rid of thorns. Food does not come from supermarkets. It comes from hard labor, starting at 4 a.m. in the morning till midnight every day by dedicated people who know nothing else but land, who just want to be left in peace. Not once have we heard, I will send troops to protect the farms. I will send police groups to go protect the farms. I will condemn any racism towards white people or minorities. Nothing. Silence. I cannot tell you the horrors that I've seen in my life. I've been in wars. I've seen men die next to me, seen women die, seen children die, seen car bombs, endured 6 attacks a day, 44 rockets at a time, seen soldiers lying there that barely got there and died. Seen entire buildings disappear. And the worst is, you live in fear all the time, thinking, am I next? Can you imagine the people of South Africa? They wake up every day and they're just thankful to be alive. They don't know who's next. They don't know if their children will go to school and come back. Their mothers will not be raped or murdered or strangled. Not sure that the police won't arrest them and put them in jail so they can be raped by a bunch of people. Every mother and girl that walks down the street is scared that they will be raped or murdered. Or when you're driving down the street, a car won't pull you over and just shoot the car up so they can get your bag. Or young men running up with machetes and chop your arm off just because you're from Zimbabwe or from Nigeria or from Mozambique, because they just didn't like the fact that you were from somewhere else. There's something terribly wrong over there. And the royals said nothing in 10 days. In 10 days. An average of 4,800 rapes. In 10 days, an average of 5,800 murders. And they said nothing. They talked about gender-based violence, put a token ribbon, and said, oh, the kids need skills. Here's another £8 million. We're going to give it to the government to steal again. It'll never get to these kids. It'll be somebody's BMW. It's a sad day. To the Queen of England, to the British government, and to the royal family, you should be ashamed. Utterly ashamed. You've done enough damage in Africa. You've said nothing to stop this violence. You've said nothing to stop the persecution of white people and minorities in South Africa. You have not excused the 36,000 or 26,000 women and children you murdered in concentration camps on St. Helena Island for the Boers. And the 6,000 black people you took there too. This is the Hawk. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I'm not here for myself. This message needs to get out to the world. The world needs to know what's really going on. We replaced apartheid, not to put it back. And that's exactly what's happened. You consider this. In the country you were born, I don't care what color you are. You're a human being. And that human being is born in America, England, France, anywhere. You are that country's citizen. You're not there as a color. Your country is not a color, it's a piece of ground. It's a location. It's a place that you were born. As I was born in Africa. So I'm an African American, but I was born in South Africa. I cannot change the fact where I was born. Nor can they. And you cannot make excuses for the past. And you cannot attack people for something they never did. Not one child born after 1948, even before that, before the British came, not one person can be blamed for the fact of history. Every child, doesn't matter what color, born in that land, is an African. And by that definition, this racist nonsense has no place in this world. You cannot have double standards. And remember what I said to all the leaders. If you use racism, you have nothing to offer your citizens but an excuse for your own failings. Please like my videos, hit the bell, subscribe, and please share this to the world. Shove it all over England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, France, Belgium, Russia, you name it, America. The world needs to know what these people are doing. And you can call me a liar, but the UN stats that are old, actually from 2012, state 500,000 people have been murdered in South Africa since 1994. Over 1 million women have been raped. That's not my stats, that's theirs. The mineral rights of South Africa are not owned by the South African people. They're owned by international conglomerates. The central banks of South Africa are not owned by the government. They're owned by international companies. They hold the country to ransom. They keep the country in a diverse situation so the people cannot survive. And the government has no power. So they steal everything they can because they know they're going to be removed sooner or later. And they deliberately divide the people of South Africa to kill each other while they steal everything. And when it's all done, they eat rats in the street. And they take wheelbarrows of money for bread. And the blood of the people run down the street like they are now. And nobody does nothing. Because the media like CNN and NBCS and all these other places are controlled by the same controllers of the money. Because they don't want nobody to know. And they will lie and call you all kinds of names. And I don't care. You see, I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to lose but my soul. Because we came into this world naked. And we leave naked with the sins of our lives in our hands, and that's all we have. It's what we didn't do, what we did do. We cannot look away when you know that 2-year-old babies are being put on tables and raped and burnt. And fathers' eyelids are cut off so they make them watch. This is not theft, this is not robbery, this is murder, torture, and deliberate genocide. It's ethnic cleansing. This is the hawk. Prince Harry, I hope you see this video because I'm extremely disappointed of you. And I'm sure your mother is too. I'm out of here. Please stop killing your people. Stop killing your people. Please stop killing. And stop raping your mothers and your sisters and your grandmothers and your babies. You all be safe now. This is the hawk. I'm out of here. And I'm done with the royals.